I'll tell you all about that tomorrow.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
Listen, let me ask you this. When a woman is speaking in the center of a forest and nobody's around to hear her, is she still complaining?
Hmm.
Something to
Wonderful
think
question.
about.
Yes.
Lalita Kumar, a 50-year-old American lady, was recently found in the jungle of Cinderberg in India,
Mhm.
uh, around about 280 miles from Mumbai. A local shepherd heard her cries for help in the deep forest and found her shackled to a tree with a chain around a swollen leg.
Mm.
She said that her husband, Satish, had left her there after a domestic dispute. Must have been some domestic dispute.
Yeah, for science, that's quite a yes.
The police were called
Mhm.
and cut the chain off her and took her to the hospital in Swantawadi
Mm.
and launched an attempted murder inquiry against her husband.
Mm.
From the hospital, uh, Lolita, she said that she was there for 40 days with no food.
Oh,
Now, I've seen the images,
yeah.
and really, she's a
Mm.
skinny old girl.
Yeah, you can survive that.
Uh, After initial treatment, the police said that she was out of danger,
Mhm.
because they rehydrated her,
Yeah.
and that she's suffering from psychiatric problems because of medical prescriptions found on a person during the rescue. So they'd rummaged through her bags to see who she
Yeah.
was, trying to find who she was, and found these
Mhm.
prescriptions for, I don't know, psychotic medicine. I don't know what they have in India. Uh, she was born in the US, but has been living in Goa for quite some time. And officials have been looking into who she is, who she's been in touch with over the last few months. To try and get
Yeah.
some background as to
Yeah. Well, I
what
understand
led
it.
up
Yeah.
to that situation.
Yeah.
She said that she was married to her husband Satish
Mm.
from the southern India state of Tamil Nadu.
Mhm.
Right, so that there is what the article said. It
Mm.
said it around about 10 days ago.
Yeah. So yeah.
Uh, but we did the podcast about the Olympics,
Yeah.
and so I sat on this I
Yeah.
sat on
Yeah.
this article because something didn't seem to come up to muster for me,
Mm.
you know. And like I said, I put it to one side and I
Yeah.
kept it.
I understand.
Lucky me.
Well, yeah. I mean, this.
After about a week came the second article about Mrs. Kumar.
Mm.
The police, through their investigations and also her further statements, found that she had in fact tied herself up to the tree after she blamed her husband. And it turns out she wasn't even married.
Okay. Oh, dear.
Uh, this came to light after she was transferred from emergency to a psychiatric unit. So it looks like the police were right about the psychedelic drugs, I suppose.
Well, yes. Peace, man. Yeah.
Yeah, she said that she was probably suffering from hallucinations when
Yeah.
she gave her initial statement to the police,
Mm.
right? She also said that she'd bought the chains herself after going into panic, after entering into a panic mode after her
Mm.
visa had expired, and she was running low on money.
Right. Okay.
Right? Police recovered her passport, which showed that she's from Massachusetts.
Okay. Right.
and she had a national ID card, which I thought was quite interesting, showing her address in Tamil Nadu.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When she was found, she also had a mobile phone,
Mm-hmm.
which to call for help, I would have used my mobile phone, unless of course you've got your mobile phone through one of those carriers
Mm.
where they're never
Yeah.
accessible. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to mention don't like to mention brand names, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah. With a yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
yeah, she also had a computer tablet
Yeah.
and $370 in rupees on
Mm.
her. Officials traced her family in the US, and she has spoken to them over the
Mm.
phone,
Right.
probably in a catchment area using her
Yeah.
mobile phone.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes.
And the happy ending is her condition is improving. Why have I sort of uh, brought this up? It's because uh, in this story,
Mm.
although she implicated a bloke, in
Mm.
this case her husband,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have. Um, Nobody got hurt.
Mm.
Nobody, nobody got arrested.
Yeah.
Nobody, you know. But there are so many other stories. When I say similar, I don't mean being tied up to a tree, but
Yeah.
where somebody would scream, "They hit me! They did this! They did that!"
Yeah.
You know, and swear by it until they go to court, and then at the last
Yeah.
minute they'll say, "Ah, no, no, he didn't." You know,
Yes.
and they put their victim through an awful lot of stress. There was a doctor in the UK,
Mm.
which I thought was funny. I forget his name now, which is a recent story. And
Yeah.
there's one patient of his
Mm.
that he wanted to take off his roster, his roll
Yeah.
of people he has to. This patient of his is a drug addict. He said, and this doctor admitted that when this drug addict went
Mm.
to see him on a visit, he called this bloke in
Yeah.
to have a consultation. And
Mm.
when the bloke sat down in front of him, the doctor started hitting himself and throwing himself against the door, saying, "Ow,
Yeah.
stop hitting me." You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
and the poor patient, you know,
Yeah.
he must have been thinking he was tripping, you know,
Mm. Oh, yeah.
because nobody expects a doctor to get up out of his chair and start
Yes.
hitting himself in the face and chest and throwing himself against the door. But that is a similar thing. But luckily, the doctor he admitted soon afterwards
Mm.
that it was all his doing. He just wanted to get rid of this patient who he didn't like for some
Yeah.
reason or other. You
That
know,
way. Yeah.
he got struck off for a couple of years. The doctor.
Mm. Yeah.
So when he calms down a little bit, they'll let him go back into
Yeah.
because after all in the UK there's a shortage of doctors. So
Mm.
you got to get who you can.
Yeah. Yes.
There you go. That's three or four political points there in this little
Yeah.
5 minute introduction here.
Well,
I'll throw that hot potato onto you.
well, I mean, yeah. As to sitting on the story, actually, to be quite honest, to you as an older person and all that, yeah, sometimes you do sit back and something doesn't make sense. You will sit back and get the full narrative. You told me a few times, calm down, see what happens on a couple of things. Yeah. Yeah, even in my older age, and I say that to younger people sometimes, we'll get caught. But yeah, I mean, I did glance the story. It's one of these things I started to read, came up on my feed. I started to read it, and like you, I thought something's not quite right here. Now, I'm not a trained police officer. I'd imagine a police officer would look at that and go, and don't forget, in India, they're not stupid, the police there. They look at things, they objectively look at it. They're probably used to a lot of strange things. What's going on here? Um, And yeah, and yeah, the minute they found I read that apparently her husband fed her all sorts of things and all that. I didn't know the bit that she wasn't even married or anything else, but something didn't quite add up, like you say. So I stopped reading it. I thought, is this a bit of clickbait? Is this a bit of something else? Lost interest in the story, to be quite honest. I thought, yeah, like you, I thought, I wonder what's going to come next with this. Yeah, because I'd skipped down to the bottom paragraph and there's still no resolution to it. So I thought, that's a waste of time. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Now, I worked with somebody years ago, a guy, like I said, I worked on a site, and the person, one of my colleagues, unfortunately, couldn't, for some reason, handle life anymore. Left work on a Friday, didn't come back on a Monday. And I heard a week later the fact that he'd unfortunately taken his own life. Yeah, I quite liked the guy. Wasn't a big best friend of him or anything, but still worked with the guy, did the job together. Yeah, I went and spoke to my manager about it. Yeah, I said, have you heard about that? And he said, yeah. And he was an Irish guy. I won't say his name. Yeah. And yeah, and he told me he once was talking to a policeman in Ireland, of all places. And this policeman said, yeah, he said, with psychology and everything else, he said, there's a fine line between sanity and insanity. Yeah. And it's the easiest thing to cross it if you're not careful. Yeah. And anything can trigger you. We've all been in situations where we think, well, drive me crazy and everything else. It's not. Yeah. For some reason, she triggered. Now, I mean, we've seen, yeah, you've got to be able to deal with life and cope with life. Yeah. Evidently, she moved from America for whatever reason, was in India. We know we did a podcast the other day about moving to a different country. Sometimes you have to accept things are different. They might not always make any sense, but you accept things. If it doesn't affect you directly, just leave it. Even if it does, you're not going to do much about it. You learn tolerance. But for whatever reason, yeah, she went over. Now, it would strike me that she's probably used to taking some additional things occasionally as well to cope with life.
Well, she went to Goa. I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I don't want to, leave myself open here. Yes, Goa is traditional the hippie place. Yeah. There's people Portuguese there as well, don't they? I think. But yeah, it was always there where people went to go and find themselves.
Find themselves, of course.
Yeah, to find themselves. She evidently didn't quite find herself. She got lost somewhere. But it's an unfortunate story. I'm pleased for her. She's getting the treatment she requires. She'll probably end up back in the US. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. The story, but yeah, it's an interesting little story. Yeah, but I think the other side of it all is, and this thing now coming into workplace and into social things called emotional intelligence, where we all look out for each other. It's not interfering with people's lives. If you see somebody who's beginning to act in a strange way, difficult, I know sometimes, it might not be a bad thing to just quietly mention it to them or one of their relatives or something else. We don't know the full circumstances of this soul in India, but yeah, like I say, look out for each other. Stop this happening. Could that have been prevented?
What I find odd in this, still in this second, because these are two articles, right? One is the first article, which left it all open-ended.
Yeah.
And the second one is the conclusion. You know, what happened a couple of weeks later. And it said that she was worried because her visa had expired.
Mm,
But then a couple of lines later, it said that she had a national ID card
mm,
showing her address in Tamil Nadu.
mm.
So it'd be interesting to know uh, for travelers to India what sort of visa she's actually got or had, or
Yeah, I mean,
because
you and
she's
I,
been there.
yeah,
She didn't go there a week ago.
no,
Apparently she's been there around about 10 years.
yeah.
So, you know,
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, we know our experiences here. We have an ID card because we're registered as being here. We're
but
coming to,
that's right, our visa but allows us to be here.
yeah,
And I'm surprised that, you know, look, she's 50 years old.
and I don't,
So, you know,
yeah,
women go through a strange period of time anyway, right? And
yeah,
no, it's call a spade a spade. Women do
yeah.
go.
It's menopause. Yeah, menopause. Yeah.
Of course it is. Um, if she's been in India for 10 years,
Mm,
she was either stonking rich in the US
mm,
and took all the money with her,
yeah,
or she was doing something active in India to to to
to
get her
survive.
through.
Yeah.
And if she thought that she was strapped for cash with $370 in her pocket,
Mm,
then you know uh, she must have been living one hell of a lifestyle
yeah. No, I didn't think of
in
that
India.
angle. Yeah, yeah,
In India, you know.
yeah.
So all of these little sort of nuances, they sort of
Mm.
keep on niggling at me,
As I
you
said,
know.
it's what I said. There's a fine line between here and there. He
Yeah,
probably crossed
that's
it. I
right.
mean, again, you don't know what led into it. We don't know her history, like you say. She well fit
Yeah.
that she had episodes before. They call it episodes now, don't they? Where
Well, the policeman said that she was on medication,
no,
so
there you go. Yeah,
one would assume that she has,
yeah. I mean,
but we don't know what circumstances led up to it.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
we don't know if she was an English teacher.
I was going to say, I bet
Better,
she
better,
probably was. I know driving mad. No, sorry, yeah.
I know a couple of English teachers, and all of them are crazy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I'm not going there with you, Steve. Yeah,
That's why I said it.
yeah. Well, let's look at like, well, yeah, guys, I'm an English teacher, and yeah, I'm the certifiable case. Yes, I know.